We have all heard the saying by the late great Selena Gomez, "Kill them with kindness." I felt inspired by her wisdom and got wondering if a Dragon's Dogma character could be made with her philosophy in mind. It was her thinking that someone could actually die or be killed by kindness. It doesn't seem possible, but I believe in Selena Gomez, and I'm not going to let her down. I got researching. First, I had to learn what kindness is. Apparently these people will go about doing things for each other without expecting anything in return. I was seriously stumped. Luckily, I found inspiration seconds after giving up. Spark reignited. In my research, I found that kindness is associated with two things, and two things only: warmth and hugs. I now had a solid plan and a mystery to solve. Let's find out if Dragon's Dogma can be beat by only giving warm hugs. I started New Game Plus, got swept off my feet by a dragon, got tricked into carrying some boxes by someone I thought was my friend, embraced a rather large snake while my pawns lobotomized him, and began the fortnight-long trek to Grand Soren. I wasn't going to use anything in this run besides hugs, and my hugs will carry no emotional power unless I can change my vocation in town. So, I practiced my hugging technique on this dog until he carried me somewhere we could rent a room. Once in town, I freshened up and got the skill that will make this whole run possible. With it, my dainty friend-zone side hugs become fiery, passionate, and able to fulfill Selena's vision for us all to live in a world where people are dying daily due to kindness. I had to try it out, so I picked up a quest I knew would take me near a dragon and headed that direction. I was actually pretty worried about fighting a fire dragon, as I assumed my white-hot love would do no damage to him. I was very wrong. This was one of the easiest dragon kills I think I've ever gotten, and I did it all with kindness too. I'm changing and I'm learning. I had to spread more love across the land, so I walked down the hill to find a goat and his two closest friends. I worked my way into their hearts, and in no time they were all tuckered out. I set my sights next on a huggable-looking rock, leaned in, and got to work. It was at this point I realized that my kindness was pretty overpowered. Not much in the base game was going to challenge me. I set my sights on the Dark Arisen expansion instead. So I went back to my hometown, took a nap, and in the night was taken by a strange lady to her former boss's private island.
I ask you, is that the fate you've
She got yapping, so I tried to find a quiet place to make a plan. It wasn't too long before I found my first target, a completely optional, room-sized BDSM Cyclops who looks like he could use a hug. I thought he would stand more of a chance than my previous lovers, and I was right. On my first try, he brushed off my advances. I realized right away that with a prize as beautiful as this one, I would need to approach things tactfully. I made sure to take it slow and try not to be pushy with my advances. If I could just spend time near my new conquest, then they would surely be able to soak up my positive vibes and can-do attitude without pushing me away so easily. After a minute or two, they warmed up to me, and I got another body in the books for kindness. After teleporting back into the arms of my abductor, I remembered why I left her in the first place, and set off again, this time making my way deeper. I walked near a bird, a horse, some British people, and finally gave an eyeball with lips my warm embrace. The eyeball was the first mandatory boss of Love Island, and I took him down without trouble. Things are going well, and I feel at this point like I'm finally getting the hang of this kindness thing. The next mandatory boss is one I got more worried about the closer I got to him, partially because he tends to fly above where my aura of kindness can reach, but mostly because I gained weight and lost health getting to him. I made short work of his dog, and started whittling him down too. I was leaning heavily on the healing item I found in the room to make sure I didn't become kindness's next victim, but it wasn't enough. It took some further attempts, but finally I killed the Pope of the Dead and his pet with nothing but newfound kindness. It was in the third and final level of the island that I finally met an enemy that broke me. After hugging off every piece of clothing this guy had on him, what was left was not a huggable body, but a mist of unhuggable bullshit. I was furious. If I wanted to progress, I would need to call my emotional support human to deal with the mist inside of the armor. I began feeling sick. Not only was I being kind, but I was also resorting to friendship. After what should have been a short fight, and me realizing why I was so against friendship in the first place, I moved forward. I parkoured my way to Matt Damon's house and walked through his front door without knocking, as lovers do. I tried face-hugging technique I learned from the internet, and before long he was defeated, sort of. The second phase of Matt's fight is only accessible after making it through the expansion 2 times, so I started back through. I once more hugged the eye, jumped longingly at the Pope, and snuck back into the home of my favorite actor. He sucked me into the floor one time, but I came prepared and eventually beat his first phase again. In his second phase, I wore him down with my embrace until a photo finish race between my stamina and his health. I came out on top. I have successfully hugged the hardest challenges of Dragon's Dogma. I had no idea when I started this challenge that kindness was one of the most overpowered ways to kill things in this game, and I'm even tempted to give it a whirl in real life. If you liked this video and want to see me do more challenges like this when Dragon's Dogma 2 comes out, then like and subscribe. I genuinely hope this video has inspired you to try kindness out for yourself. See ya.